every man has an event or 20 in his life to wear a tuxedo. Now, some guys will rent a tuxedo, and here's why you shouldn't do that. I'm going to give you 2 reasons not to rent a tuxedo. Number 1, 3 tuxedo wears are going to cover the cost of buying a tuxedo. So it makes sense just to have a good tuxedo. And number 2, if you are renting a tuxedo, you are sending a message to the universe that you are not worthy of further black tie events. Well, I'd like to think that you want to be successful. So,
and you go to more black tie events.
You go to, right, and then you get invited to more. So a tuxedo makes a lot of sense. Now, a couple things about a tuxedo, right? So one of the things I love about the versatility of a tuxedo today is that you can wear the jacket with a pair of jeans.
Yes.
And that looks super cool, and I love it.
Yes.
Now, you would wear a tuxedo at a black tie event. Now, you don't have to wear a tuxedo at a black tie event, but it's always safe to wear a tuxedo at a black tie event. Here's what you don't do. You don't wear a black suit with a bow tie, because you know that it's not a tuxedo. You know that everyone around you knows it's not a tuxedo. It's like, why look cheap at an expensive event?
And try to put a bow tie on, just kind of get away with it. No.
Buy the damn tuxedo. You're going to want to wear it with a tuxedo shirt, or if you're a more casual tuxedo baller like Dan Lok, you can wear it with an open collar. Fine, fine, but don't wear a black suit like a tuxedo. What makes the difference between a suit and tuxedo? Let me tell you guys. Number 1, you have a satin lapel. So the lapel is a formal satin finish on the front, and then on the side, on the pants, turn around a little bit here, you have a satin stripe down the side of the pant, and that signals that it's a tuxedo and not a suit. Now let's talk about formal events. Dan, what are some of the events that you throw to recognize the top salespeople in your organization?
Well, we used to have an event called Closers in Black, which not just me, but all my clients and students, they wear black, right? A lot of them, ladies, dresses, men, tuxedos. And for many of them, this is the first time they ever wear a tuxedo, or they get a tuxedo just for this event. And it's an experience. It's like a red carpet event, it's a celebration, it's a recognition, it is it's content, it's community, one of a kind.
So for sales leaders, it is important to recognize your best salespeople.
Yes.
Do salespeople like recognition, guys?
Everybody wants recognition.
Right. And what we did for our people once a year, we have the President's Club trip. This year we went to Croatia, and it was a group of about 12 of us that went on a 1-week journey all the way. We went to Split, we went to Zagreb, we went to Dubrovnik, all over the country. We went and sailed into where Game of Thrones was filmed. We actually stayed at the same hotel as the Game of Thrones crew was staying on. Not the crew, the actors. Yeah. It was like the nicest resort. The year before that, we did our sales trip to Tbilisi and Bozhamy, Georgia, in the country of Georgia, which was amazing. This year, we're looking at doing a cruise. Maybe we'll do a company trip to Japan. You just came back from Japan.
I recommend it.
Yeah, well, I think for sales leaders, it's really, really important to recognize your salespeople. Give your salespeople a reason to put on a tuxedo. I think a tuxedo is worn for 2 things. It's like the most important events in your life, and the events those events in themselves are a recognition of your success because you're invited. It makes sense. It makes sense to have an outfit that recognizes you and for the accomplishments that you've achieved. There's nothing but pride in that.
And I think also for me, the first tuxedo that I bought, I have many suits, but first tuxedo when I watched Danny Craig, the first James Bond movie.
Yes.
You know when he walked into the bathroom, there's the scene where there's tuxedo and then there's tuxedo, and then he walks in the scene. I'm like, I want one of those. That's when I see, wow, how good it could look with the bow tie, everything else. Yeah, tuxedo, those special occasions.
Let's talk about tuxedo colors. So you have black. Remember, satin lapel, satin stripe down the side of the pants, very important. So the black tuxedo is the classic. But dark navy tuxedo is very appropriate today. It's especially stylish. You're seeing a lot of the younger tuxedo, like the rapper crowd, and new money is going to wear something like a pattern. Like I've seen some very beautiful camo sort of print, like dark navy or dark green tuxedos, very beautiful. So you can have fun. You can play around with a tuxedo. Now, traditionally, of course, you want the black tuxedo to be first, but you're not limited. Like if you're really a top producer and you really can afford to expand your wardrobe like you've expanded your mind, you can start having a little bit of fun and adding a little bit of color variety. Now, for a tuxedo, typically now Dan likes to wear his stuff sort of without a tie. Bow tie is the classic way to wear a tuxedo. You need a special shirt with a special wing collar, little corners in tuxedo. Let me take a moment and just talk about shirt collars real quick. This will make a good little introduction to shirt collars. There are different shirt collars. I'm wearing a semi-cutaway. Dan here is a full cutaway. I'm just going to show you what a full cutaway looks like. So it's almost like a straight line across. There is no hard rule for what collars you should wear, but there are a couple of rules I want to share with you. Number one, generally speaking, the narrower your face, the wider your collar should be. So guys with very narrow faces, don't wear narrow collars because it makes your face look longer. So if your face is narrower, you want to wear a wider collar so that it balances out, and vice versa. If your face is a little bit wider, you want to do a little bit more of a point to elongate the face so there's a little bit of a connection there. You also want to consider the length of your neck. I have a particularly long neck, so I have a slightly longer point collar, 3.25 inches on mine, average about 2.75, but I'm built like a giraffe. So if you have a short neck, like there's guys that have short necks, don't get a big collar because it makes your neck disappear. You want to get a narrower collar. So consider and talk with your tailor about the correct choice of collar for your neck. This is very, very important. Fabric is also very important in shirts. So the typical shirt is made out of something called a broadcloth, okay? And a broadcloth is kind of your everyday, wear it all the time as much as you can, as much as you want to shirt. You also have an Oxford. An Oxford is a little bit more of a lighter weave, which you can wear for more every day. It's going to wrinkle more than a broadcloth, but it'll breathe better. So consider the weight of the shirt. Again, you want to talk to your LGFG tailor about the heaviness and the weave of the shirt that you wear, because the weave also has impact on how warm it is. It has impact on how wrinkly it'll be. So we have Oxfords, we have broadcloths. We can do a very high-end Sea Island cotton, a Japanese Sea Island cotton, the best in the business. We have access to that. And then you can talk about a tick weave or a weave or an end-on-end or any kind of an Oxford weave, or my favorite, the twill, which is sort of like your herringbone, but like in a very large pattern. Talk to your tailor. The weave of the shirt and the fabric makes a lot of difference in the wearability of the shirt. For example, a lot of people don't know this. If you're getting a king twill, which is a very wide herringbone on your shirt, the shirt is going to come in about one size larger than you expect it to. Good tailors make king twills larger because after 1 or 2 washes, they will shrink no matter what, and they will come to the right size. If you're not working with a tailor, you wouldn't know that. Would you recommend your salespeople see a tailor?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because it's one of a kind, and like the motto we talked about, you look good, feel good, you close better, they pay you better.
Right.
It makes a huge difference. And I know it's for some salespeople, if you're brand new to sales, it might feel like, well, that's a lot of money. But it is an investment in yourself. It really is an investment in yourself, because at the end of the day, you're using your skill to generate income and money. Why would you not invest in you? Invest in your mind, invest in your up-level your skill, but also invest in the way that you look. And you can start with that first suit. When you go, you can buy stuff off the rack, which of course you could. But then when you go custom tailor, when you go bespoke, after I go bespoke, you don't go back. Let me just say that.
Here's an interesting, you talk about investing in yourself and growing your mind. I'm going to do a little salesman's joke. I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to say, what, Dimitri? So what do you call a salesperson that doesn't invest in themselves?
A starving salesperson.
I call them customer service.
I like that.
So in sales, like you want to go from order taker to order getter.
Yes.
And the difference is income. Like when I ask people, what are your motivating factors to get into sales? The number one thing I want to hear them say is, I want to make money. Yeah. That's what I want to hear. And if they're shy about it, I'm like, don't be shy about it. That's what you want. That's why you're here. If they say, I want to help people, I want to make people happy, I'm like, that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a noble goal and a noble mission, but you should be customer service. Yeah. Because salespeople's jobs for you're in sales to make money.
Revenue. Yeah.
Yeah. And guys, now sometimes, and this is an interesting topic, I've sort of debated a little bit with some even clients, and they say, well, your salespeople are kind of on the phone with me a lot. They're reaching out a lot. Boy, do your salespeople work hard. And I say, look, if you don't like salespeople, move to North Korea. No salespeople. In communism, nobody's trying to sell you anything. But you want to live in a free capitalist society that embrace the entrepreneurial spirit. So when salespeople call me, if they're good, I will buy. I love to buy from good salespeople because, well, we're fortunate to have salespeople. I grew up in the Soviet Union for the first 9 years of my life. We had no salespeople. Shit, we couldn't even buy anything that we wanted, right? Here's a couple things, guys, that I want to share with you about sales that's important to me, and I think Dan will concur. Sales is the most important profession in the world.
Yes.
Nothing happens until a sale is made.
Yes.
You want a computer programmer to write software? Well, who's going to buy that software? Somebody has to pay that guy, right? You want a package to be delivered? Something has to be sold for it to be delivered.
And sales makes the world go round.
Yeah.
Nothing happens until a sale is made. So selling is a very noble thing. Most people think sales is like slimy, salesy. It's too aggressive. Or it's not that kind. Of course, you have salespeople that like that, and that's what gives sales a bad reputation. But at the same time, think about the economy.
Yeah.
If you take sales away, what happens to the economy?
Everybody loses their job, like literally everybody. And some people say that slimy salespeople are why people in the world around us generally are apprehensive of salespeople. I think it's actually more base than slimy salespeople. I think it's incompetent salespeople. For example, 90% of people that get into sales will not be in sales long term because they don't have what it takes.
Quit in 2 years.
Yeah, they just
1
want
year.
the money. They're like, I just want the money. Well, you got to pay the price for that. It's like boxing. It's like I really wanted to be a boxer until I tried boxing and met somebody that really wanted to be a boxer. Yes. Then I'm like, you know what, that guy really wants to be a boxer. So in sales people, what happens is, so you suck and you call somebody and they're like, God, this person's stupid. They hang up the phone on you. So 90% of the sales calls people receive are from bad salespeople that will quit soon anyways. So it's not like sales is bad or annoying. It's like, imagine that you are hearing Mozart, but it's being played by a first-year piano student and it sounds like garbage. Bam, bam, bam. Like, this sounds like crap.
And they say this is bad music.
Of course. Well, it's like Mozart can't make music. No, the person playing can't play the music. If you get a call from a great salesperson, how many times has happened in your career where they're like, Dan, I've never bought from a salesperson before, but man, you're different. And they're happy that they bought from you. It's an experience for them, right? And they feel good about it. So there's nothing but nobility in sales. If you learn the craft, if you learn the skill, you will make people happy. But you got to make yourself happy first.
And that starts with a suit.
It starts with a good suit. How many dress shirts do you need? Am I okay just having 3 white shirts? Well, no, because then you're wearing the same white shirt repeatedly. Don't do that. You don't want to wear the same shirt twice in a week because, well, it's going to smell bad and nobody's going to like you, and then you're going to lose your friends, and then it just goes very sad from there. I recommend to my clients 21 shirts. Here's why. You're going to need a shirt for every day of the week. 2 of them are going to be casual, 5 for the working days. You need 7 shirts in your closet that are ready to wear, 7 that you're wearing this week, and 7 are in the dry cleaners, and 7 are going to go into the dry cleaners that you're wearing now. So you have a cycle of 21 shirts. You want an ideal wardrobe? 21 shirts is the ideal wardrobe. It's very simple to tell when it's time to replace your shirt, when your collars are fraying, when your cuffs are fraying. By the way, cheap shirts have glue inside the collars and cuffs. LGFG Fashion House shirts do not. So LGFG Fashion House shirts will last you 8 to 12 years. A great dress shirt will last you 8 to 12 years. People say, that can't be true. Yes, it can, because you've been buying cheap shirts. And if you're buying cheap shirts, then you get the yellow runs inside your collars and cuffs, or they fray. You don't want that. If your fabric is fraying, replace your shirt, replace your shirt, replace your shirt. Don't be shy about replacing your shirts. It's an investment into yourself to look your best, to feel your best, and to be paid optimally. Well, let me ask you, Dan, do you dry clean your shirts?
Some.
Okay.
Some.
Why?
Not all of them.
Why?
Ask my wife, I don't know.
I like that
So
answer.
Jenny takes care of all that. She makes a decision.
I personally get my shirts dry cleaned because I'm lazy. That's it. And you get to a level where it's like, I don't even want my wife to be washing my shirts. I just dry clean them, drop them off when you're at the store. It's right there. So this is sort of a lifestyle decision. Yes. You don't actually need to dry clean your shirts. For a good quality cotton shirt, you can throw it in the dryer, tumble dry, whatever. It's perfectly good to go. Especially now, as a lot of shirts are made with sort of wrinkle-resistant blends, like a little bit of Lycra. There's just some additive in there that makes it still wear well, and you can iron it or steam it or whatever. I hate ironing. I can't stand ironing, so I get all of my shirts dry cleaned. And I think it's a really big privilege. And I'll tell you guys how I came to that conclusion. It was Robert Kiyosaki. I think he was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or something I read from him that said, like, don't invest time into things that are below your pay grade. So if I'm looking at dry cleaning and like, what am I saving? Like, if I don't dry clean, I save $50. I mean, what is an hour of your time worth? It's more than $50. Yes. I am not going to take an hour to go and do my laundry. I will pay somebody to do it so I can focus on what I'm best at and maximize my income opportunity. So guys, when it comes to clothing, you want to look great, but don't be cheap when it comes to cleaning stuff because you're wasting important time that you could be making sales with.
I agree.
People are like, but Dimitri, on the weekend I'm not making sales. If you're not making sales on the weekend, are you really in sales? Do people in sales want to work 40 hours a week? Come on. Let's talk about that. Top salespeople.
Well, he's just selling all the time. You're closing all the time. Doesn't mean you're working all the time.
Yeah.
Right. But you're definitely, because you don't know if you're in sales where you're going to meet that next client, the next prospect.
Right.
Who you're going to connect with. I mean, every day is an opportunity.
Heck, today we went out to a coffee shop and there was a nice Ukrainian girl serving coffee. I said, and we started talking. I'm like, is this the job you want? She's like, no, I want to do something better. I just came here. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm hiring salespeople. Let's go. Let's talk. And that's very normal. Like if I meet a waiter or waitress that's like very sharp and I can tell their career is not in waitering, I asked them, have you ever thought about being in sales? There's always, and by the way, this is actually really crazy. So I was dressed really, really well. So I'm talking to her and how does she see me? Probably as being successful, right? So when I lived in a condo building, I had a penthouse and my office was on the 12th floor. So I designed a really great life. My office on the 12th, I live on the penthouse on 22. Yeah, and so I never had to commute to work. So I would take the thing down. But whenever I took my garbage out on the weekends, I would always wear a suit. You know why? Because I'd run into clients and I'd run into prospects and I never wanted to be caught off guard. When I fly, and I'm sure you do the same thing, I dress up when I fly. Because I want to attract business. I can't tell you how many clients I've met just talking to people on flights and people behind the camera talking about that too. That's huge. You should always be selling. Should you not?
Yes, 100%. Always be selling. Always be closing.
Is a salesperson ever turn off?
If they are ever turn off, they're not salespeople.
That's huge. If you're looking for balance and I want to work 40 hours a week, it's like people tell me I want to get into sales because I get so much free time. It's like, oh, you are not right for sales. Yeah.
No, it is not a thing that you do. It is a lifestyle.
Man, I love that. It's a lifestyle.